Today we're covering 15 Pokemon card investing mistakes that I see people make all the time. I myself have made almost all of these, and I really want to help you avoid doing the same thing. So let's get into it. Okay, y'all, before we get into the 15 Pokemon card investment mistakes that we're going to talk about today, I need to get one thing out of the way, and that is that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a talking head on YouTube, and for the love of Arceus, if you're going to make large financial decisions about things to invest in, don't just trust me. Go talk with a professional, go talk with other people, do your own independent research, and make your own decisions. So with that out of the way, let's get into the 15 Pokemon card investing mistakes that I have experienced firsthand.
Oh my God. I am never going to financially recover from this.
And that I want to help you avoid at all cost. Mistake number one is ripping packs hoping for big hits. Y'all, this is not an investment strategy. It's just straight up gambling. Most of the time, ripping packs is going to lead to a loss, not a win. And over the course of doing it time and time again, you're with almost 100% certainty going to lose money in the long haul if you're relying on ripping packs as a way to get good investments into your portfolio. There's nothing wrong with ripping packs for fun. In fact, I do it all the time myself, but treat it as such. That's an entertainment cost. That's not an investment cost. So if you want to rip packs for fun, go for it. But just know that you're probably not going to make your money back in doing so. Mistake number two is investing in Pokemon cards without having a plan. I mean, would you go into the stock market without having done some research first, without having talked to a professional or talked to someone who knows what they're talking about? Would you go into it without knowing the risk that you're about to incur or having an exit strategy for how you're going to realize the gains or minimize the losses? Of course you wouldn't. So why would you not do the exact same thing with Pokemon? For me, my own personal investment strategy is pretty simple. For every new set that's released, I always buy 3 to 6 booster boxes. I try to get them for around $100 a piece, a little bit less if I can. I also buy 2 to 4 Pokemon Center ETBs and 2 to 4 regular ETBs. I also keep an eye out for products selling below MSRP, along with products that I think are going to be very desirable down the road that might be one-off products not related to a particular set. So a good example of that would be the Darkrai V-Star boxes that were recently selling for $20 as a part of Walmart's Black Friday deal. They normally sell for $40. If I can get it that cheap, half of what MSRP is, great. I'm going to snag those up all day. Same thing with products that are extremely desirable, like the Jolteon, Flareon, and Vaporeon VMAX boxes that people have been finding on shelves at Walmart from time to time that contain the alt arts of those 3 different Pokemon. Those are things that I believe in the long-term future of, so I'm going to pick those up as well, in addition to the baseline of booster boxes and ETBs for each set. And the reason that I like to buy at least 2 of each product that I invest in is because that's part of my exit strategy. Whenever a product doubles in price from what I purchased it for, that's when I'm going to be selling at least half of those products to recoup the money that I invested in all of those products. So by doing that, I'm getting rid of half of my investment, but I'm regaining all the money that I invested into that thing so that the products remaining are just free money. Whatever I get out of them down the road, whenever I decide to sell them, it's just pure profit at that point. And finally, I evaluate my portfolio once a month. I set aside about 30 minutes to an hour to go through and look at the current market prices, look at what I have in my portfolio, and decide if there's anything that I need to be selling or anything that I need to be picking more up of. It's really that simple. Mistake number 3 is not having a Pokemon card budget each month. You need to make sure that you know exactly how much money you have available to spend on Pokemon cards each month so that you're not spending money that you need to be saving or using for rent or mortgage or groceries or your kids or anything like that. The last thing we want to be doing is spending money on Pokemon cards that we really need elsewhere. It's important to note here that there's no amount that's too small, but there are amounts that can be too large for your budget. When it comes to investable Pokemon card products, there's stuff available at all price ranges, from under $20 to basically as high as you want to go. Each month in my monthly investment videos, I always try to highlight products from different price ranges so that you can see that there are investable Pokemon card products no matter your monthly budget. Mistake number 4 is thinking that all Pokemon are created equal. It's just simply not the case. This is also where things start to get a little bit weird within Pokemon card investments, because it's not just about the scarcity of a card, or the rarity of a card, or the artwork on a card even. It's some combination of those things plus the popularity and inherent value of the Pokemon featured on that card. So you might have 2 cards that are the same exact rarity, one featuring a Rotom and one featuring a Charizard. I can guarantee you every single time that Charizard card's going to be worth way more than that Rotom, even if it is the exact same odds to pull those 2 cards out of a set. And the reason for that's pretty simple. It all comes down to the popularity of the Pokemon. Popular Pokemon are worth more money. Plain and simple, hard stop. So if you're looking for some good Pokemon to invest in, you really can't go wrong with some of the OGs. Pokemon like Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, Mew, Mewtwo, Gengar, Lugia, Umbreon, really any of the evolutions. They're all great investments, and I would highly recommend starting to look there. Mistake number 5 is thinking that all Pokemon sealed products are created equal. Again, just like Pokemon, it's simply not the case. When it comes to what makes a sealed product valuable, there's really 3 things you need to look at. Number 1 is the featured Pokemon on that sealed product. Whether it's on the promo card, other accessories inside, generally there's 1 or 2 or 3 featured Pokemon that are on that sealed product. If it's a popular Pokemon, that's going to increase the value of that sealed product over time. If it's a more obscure or less popular Pokemon, that's typically going to be a ding against its value. Thing number 2 is which booster packs come inside of it. If it contains booster packs of popular sets or hard to find sets, then that's generally going to increase the value of the sealed product as well. And thing number 3 is the scarcity of the product. If the product was short printed or something that was exclusive to an event or something along those lines that makes it harder to find, that of course is also going to make the value of that product go up over time. Mistake number 6 is buying sealed product expecting to be able to flip it really quickly. Like I'm talking within a couple days or weeks or even months. That's pretty quick in the Pokemon market. The only way that really works is if you're able to get the product well under MSRP for some kind of just crazy deal that you find. Otherwise, most Pokemon investments are a medium to long-term hold. You need to be investing in products that you believe in the 5 to 10 year window, not the 5 to 10 day window. Okay, so before I get into mistake number 7, which I think is arguably one of the most important ones on this video, if you're liking this content, hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to this channel. I make all kinds of content about Pokemon card collecting and investing, so if that's your jam, this channel is for you. Mistake number 7 is operating by the sunk cost fallacy. This is the phenomenon whereby a person is very reluctant to abandon a course of action or a strategy simply because they've already invested a lot of money or time or energy into it, even when it's clear that abandonment is actually the more beneficial course. Okay, so what does this mean in terms of Pokemon card investing? Well, let's use an example from my own experience to explain it. We all make bad buys at times, and one of my bad buys was buying a Battle Styles Elite Trainer box at $45 back when it was originally released. Obviously, those things have tanked since then, and people can't give them away for the life of them. My $45 investment quickly dropped to well under $30. Like we're talking $25 for the ETB max. Okay, so there's 2 ways of looking at this investment. The first is through the sunk cost fallacy, which would be me saying, oh my gosh, I invested $45 into this thing and I'm now $20 down. There's no way I'm selling this thing for a $20 loss because I have too much invested in it. I need to wait until it gets back to at least that purchase price before I sell it. Now, if you've been paying attention to the market like I have, you know very well that it's going to take a long time for that Battle Styles ETB to get back to that original $45 purchase price. The other way of looking at this investment is instead of focusing on the amount that I'm down in the investment, looking at the current value that I have into it. Now, if I were to take that $25 out and have $25 in cash sitting in front of me today, would I go back and invest it in that Battle Styles ETB? Is that the best use of that $25? Or could I take that $25 and go buy something like, let's say, the Arceus V figure collection? And would that perform better than the Battle Styles ETB? It's obvious that the Arceus V figure collection is going to perform way better than the ETB in my mind. So rather than sitting on this bad investment and letting that $25 just sit over time and eventually maybe hopefully get back to $45, it would be a much better decision for me to take that $25 out and invest it in something I believe in, something that I actually think will gain value over time much faster than that Battle Styles ETB. This is the opposite of the sunk cost fallacy. Instead of looking at sunk cost, we look at total value and we ask ourselves, where is the best place to put that value? And that's what truly great investors are able to do. Mistake number 8 is not accounting for fees and taxes when buying and selling Pokemon card products. Now, obviously, there's a cost of doing business, both online and offline. Whenever you're buying cards, you have to think about things like shipping fees, sales taxes, things along those lines. When you're selling cards, you have to think about marketplace fees. You've got to think about personal income taxes. You've got to think about shipping fees. All this stuff is the cost of doing business, and they're oftentimes overlooked and not thought about when it comes to Pokemon card investments, but they can have a huge impact on your ability to turn a profit. So when buying and selling, make sure that you're accounting for all those hidden fees that people don't like to talk about whenever you're figuring out if it's a good buy or a good sell or not. Mistake number 9 is practicing bad storage behavior. Your Pokemon cards are physical physical assets that need physical protection. So if you're not thinking about that, if you're not taking the time to make sure they are stored properly, your investments are at risk of possibly being destroyed or damaged. A few things to consider. Make sure that your cards are not in direct sunlight. This can cause them to fade. It can cause sealed products to fade. Make sure you keep them properly stored at room temperature. You don't want them sitting in an attic where it's 120 degrees during the summer or below zero during the winter. You also want to make sure that they're stored somewhere where they're out of the way. They're not in highly trafficked areas where they could get dinged, knocked over, or damaged. And finally, make sure that you also invest in penny sleeves, hard cases, non-3-ring binders, storage containers for your slabs, as well as possibly acrylic cases for some of your sealed products that are more rare and more valuable. If you're looking for the products that I personally use for protecting my own investments, there are links in the description below. Mistake number 10 is believing that Pokemon cards are a near liquid asset, meaning that they can very quickly and easily be turned into cash. Now, if you've ever tried to sell an entire collection online, you're going to know that's simply not the case. It's hard to find buyers who want to purchase thousands of dollars potentially in Pokemon cards. Anyone who's doing that is likely someone who's buying it in order to resell it themselves. If you want to get the full value of your collection, you're typically going to have to piece it out individually so that buyers who are interested in specific pieces would be willing to pay the full market value for that thing. So if you're looking at your Pokemon card collection and investments as a sort of emergency fund where you can quickly and easily get cash from it when you need it, there are far better ways to keep emergency funds where you have money at your fingertips easily. Pokemon cards is not it. It takes time, it takes energy to get the money out of your investments. So you need to be prepared for that to take some time and effort. And that brings us to mistake number 11, which is not building up a proven track record in the marketplace sooner rather than later. In order to be able to sell products effectively and efficiently in almost any online marketplace, you're going to need to build up your seller rating. Whether it's on eBay or TCG Player or even in Discord servers or Facebook groups, people want to see a proven track record before they buy from you or sell to you. I highly recommend setting up seller accounts immediately if you haven't already, so that you can begin transacting with people online and building up your seller ratings and get positive reviews for you as a seller and a buyer both. One thing that I really like to do is I take the cards I get from ripping packs with my kids each month and I'll go and list them on these various marketplaces just to start getting some positive reviews so that whenever I do have bigger items to sell or I want to offload some of my other larger investments, I've already got the seller rating that I need to build confidence with potential buyers. Mistake number 12 is not being plugged into the Pokemon card community. Being part of the community is incredibly valuable as a Pokemon card investor because you learn several things from it. Number one, you learn which sets and which Pokemon cards people are extremely excited about. If they're excited about it now, they're probably going to be excited about it in the future. So it helps you decide which cards and which sets to invest more heavily in. Thing number 2 is I discovered deals that I might not have discovered otherwise. People love to share when they find good deals online and in stores, and it helps you keep an eye out for possible deals where you can get things for below MSRP or below market value. Thing number 3 is that I make friends who are into the same hobby that I am. I get to bounce ideas off of them. I get to learn from their ideas and what they're investing in, and I get to ultimately grow as a result of being a part of the community. Mistake number 13 is not having any other types of investments. Now, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do strongly believe that if you were only invested in Pokemon cards, you are exposed to some severe risk. Being a Pokemon card investor means that you're part of a market that's extremely volatile, that's unregulated, and you're dependent upon the continued success and popularity of Pokemon as a whole. Now, I, for one, believe very strongly that Pokemon is going to continue to succeed and grow over time, and these investments that we're making are going to be strong, successful investments. But of course, there's no way of knowing that for sure. I'm simply not going to put the future financial success and stability of me and my family in the hands of one hobby and one company. I diversify my investments. I do not put everything I have in Pokemon cards, and I highly recommend you do the same. Again, not a financial advisor. Go talk with a professional and talk about how to safely and properly diversify your investment portfolio. Mistake number 14, buying Pokemon cards strictly based on FOMO or the fear of missing out or any other emotion for that matter. Almost every single time that I've bought Pokemon cards based on some sort of fear or emotion has always turned out badly for me. I either buy the product too high, I buy something that's really not going to be that valuable over time, or something along those lines. Make sure you're spending time observing the marketplace and the community, and by doing so, make your own independent decisions, not based on fear, but based on sound logic and reasoning and verifiable data before you actually invest in a Pokemon card product. And finally, we get to mistake number 15, which is believing that past success guarantees future success. It's totally fine to look at the past performance of an investment to discover patterns and trends and insights. But if you're investing in something, whether it's a Pokemon card product, a stock, a real estate investment, you name it, it's not because it's done well in the past. It's because you believe that it's going to be worth more in the future than it is today. It's totally an investment based on the future of that thing, not the past of that thing. When it comes to investing in Pokemon card products, there's two questions I really like to ask before I buy in. Number one is, will collectors want this product 5 to 10 years from now? Number two is, will this product become more or less scarce in the future? And the second question is really the reason that I like to invest in sealed products way more than I do individual cards. You see, sealed products are inherently going to become more scarce over time because eventually they stop getting printed, and people like to open products, meaning that every day those sealed products are decreasing in population. Whereas individual cards, even if you look back at some of the more vintage and rare sets from the WotC era, from the EX era, those are being opened all the time, and more cards are getting added to the market. More cards are being sent in for grading, meaning the population of individual cards is continuing to grow even for sets that are over 20 years old. So because of that, sealed products, in my opinion, are the way to go because they are inevitably, by nature, going to get more scarce over time. So there you have it, 15 mistakes that we would all do well to avoid at all cost, yet mistakes that I have still made in my past. So what do you think about my list? Is there something I missed? Is there something that's just completely and horribly wrong about what I said? Please tell me about it in a comment below. And as always, if you like this content, if you want to see more of it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until the next video, peace.